Michelle, are you ready?
I was born ready.
She's an award-winning author, speaker, and podcast host who serves on the National Faith Advisory Council. She supported Donald J. Trump for president before it was cool. From her she shed in her beautiful backyard, this is the Michelle Moore Show.
Like miners of old, on a search for pure gold, like ancient explorers, venture outside their borders. My heart is yearning to go somewhere new. I long to explore the depths of you, to explore the depths of you, latitude and longitude and every thought in between, to know you are and all we could be, the ways that you move, the dreams we could dream, to know the depths of you. Like a ship out at sea, going where your current leads, like a poetic scholar. My thoughts long to wander, and this mind is burning to know something new. I long to explore the depths of you, to explore the depths of you. Dream to know the depths of you.
Hello, everyone. So glad that you're with us today. I want to let you know that Jenica is going to be with us toward the end of the show today. Jenica from North Carolina. Y'all know her and love her. She's going to be here. We're going to be talking about all different kinds of stuff, North Carolina related. Most of you know that I just got back from our 8th trip of going to North Carolina and delivering supplies, much needed supplies. food, all her kinds of stuff, all her kinds of goodies, and of course, love offerings. And so we're going to be talking with her toward the end of the show after our time with Mark today, Lieutenant Mark Taylor. I also want to let you know tomorrow we're going to be having Steve Jarvis here. Remember him? He's part of the MAHA Make America Healthy Again Coalition. He's got all kinds of stuff he's going to be sharing with you tomorrow. So it'll be fun. And I also want to let you know that after tomorrow's show, we won't be doing a live show with me the rest of this week. And so I'm going on a little trip. I'll tell you about it on Monday of next week. But I'm excited. So anyways, I will be here today, tomorrow, and then back next Monday with Mark Taylor again. All right. So I just wanted to give you kind of a heads up on that. Mark and I have a lot to cover today. So let's go on ahead and bring him in. Lieutenant Mark Taylor. I want to say America's favorite firefighter. Hi, Lieutenant Mark Taylor.
Thank you for having me. It's always an honor to be on here.
Well, I'm glad to have you. Let's go on ahead and get started. So there's been a lot that's been going on over this weekend. Just so that in case somebody's watching that hasn't seen Trump's press release that happened late Saturday night, let's go on ahead and take a look at this press conference.
Thank you very much. A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin-Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel. And God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. On Saturday evening, President Trump also truthed out. So let's take a look at what he says about how we have completed. Says we have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran. And of course, he talks about the sites and names them out. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordo. And then he says all planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And then, as he mentioned there, Pete Hegseth was going to do a press conference next morning, and he did from the Pentagon. Let's take a look at that, just a section of it.
Of almost any American if you had an opportunity to watch it in real time. And I think Tehran is certainly calculating the reality that planes flew from the middle of America in Missouri overnight, completely undetected over 3 of their most highly sensitive sites, and we were able to destroy nuclear capabilities. And our boys in those bombers are on their way home right now. We believe that'll have a clear psychological impact on how they view the future. And we certainly hope they take the path of negotiated peace. But I could not be more proud.
All right. And then Trump had a truth that was about Iran's retaliation. Let's take a look at that. And it says any retaliation by Iran against the United States of America will be met with force far greater than what was witnessed tonight. And it says, thank you, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. Okay, then today, as we know, just trying to catch everybody up. So the next thing, or the most recent thing, has been that the U.S. bases in Qatar have been, they tried to attack those bases, in retaliation, and of course in Iraq. So Mark, share with us what you were talking about right before the show, what they were saying. So it's been unsuccessful.
They're extremely unsuccessful. I guess their missiles on the ground protection systems were going off, and I think they let one go. I think it was like 13 or 14 missiles came in, and they let one go. We knocked down pretty much all of them except for one.
Except for one.
Yeah,
and we could have let that one down, knocked it down too, but we didn't.
Right.
And so it was just a non-issue. Okay, so wanted to make sure that everybody was kind of up to date on this. Now, last week, Mark, when you were on the show, you were saying, don't be so quick to take sides and to speak up on this. And, you know, so what are you still thinking that? Like, what are you saying?
Yeah, it's, a lot of people have turned on Trump. They've turned on the whole thing. It's like, look, guys, there's more to Iran than meets the eye, Iran than meets the eye. I mean, there's more going on behind the scenes. So, I mean, we don't know. We don't have all the intelligence coming across. There was bickering going on between him and his intel community about who was right if they had the nuclear capabilities. And he came out publicly and said, well, they don't know what they're talking about, basically, because they do. So there was that going on. So it didn't make the intel community look real good, quite honestly. But in that whole thing right there with Hegseth was giving a breakdown of everything that was going on. And somebody wrote this to me. I'm not going to say their names. I don't have the permission, but they gave this to me on Truth Social. And he said, Secretary Hegseth, June 22nd, 2025. And this is a quote from Secretary Hegseth. He said, many presidents dreamed of delivering the final blow to Iran's nuclear program. When this president speaks, the world should listen. Then they also put, I didn't catch it. This person did. They know who they are. I want to thank you for sending that to me. They said, Mark Taylor, April 28, 2011. When President Trump, speaks, the world will listen and know that there is something greater in him than all the others before him. That's from the original Trump prophecy in 2011. So it's almost like literally the Secretary of Defense was literally quoting the prophecy almost.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. I mean, what are the odds, especially in that? I like that.
But I think the big takeaway of this whole thing, though, Michelle, is that people just need to remain neutral. Everybody's getting upset over this. I mean, look, I want nothing more than to see our domestic stuff handled first. But, sometimes things have to be handled outside of the box, you know what I mean? Because you don't know where things are globally. We don't have that intel coming across the desk.
It'll be interesting to see how all this proceeds.
Right.
I found this video over the weekend. I wanted to show this. So it says the largest air forces in the world as of 2025. So this is current. Let's take a look at this video. It's very interesting, these numbers on here. Iran was the least. I mean, what is going on?
Right. I mean, it's kind of stupid to be picking a fight with the largest Air Force in the world there, you know?
Yeah. What do you think about this whole thing, though, where people are saying, well, the Maha movement's over? I mean, the MAGA movement's over. You know, it's over because he's not making peace.
No, again, that's why I was telling people to stay neutral, because again, you don't know what's really going on behind the scenes right now. I'm not upset that he took it to him, took the hammer to him. Quite honestly, they have been killing our people for how many years? For 40, 50 years. I mean, they showed a list of how many people Iran has killed, Americans, over the years, and it's the list is enormous. So at some point, something's got to be done, something's got to be said. And look, here's the other thing. This is not the people of Iran that we're after. This is the government that we're after. The people of Iran are actually very westernized, believe it or not. I saw a documentary on that one time. And these guys are very westernized. So I think they're a lot of the people there are pro-America. It's the regime that's got to get changed out at some point. Now, I know there's some leaders now after we bombed them, are not so much Trump, but other leaders around the world now, and even someone from inside Iran is now calling for regime change, saying that the Ayatollah needs to step down.
Okay. Well, it'll be interesting too to see, you know, what people in Iran are saying about being drug into this and what all's going on, you know?
Right. Well, and it's hard to know that because they shut their internet down. They shut their social media stuff down over there. So those guys can't even comment.
When did it get shut down?
I think that was like a couple of days ago.
Oh, well.
Yeah. See, they can't do anything. Now, I think there's even talk of Elon going in there and starting up Starlink for them. I don't know. I don't know what happened with that.
So producer Ron, do we have that image where it shows who's in charge of the Iran's, got this whole nuclear capability supposedly, and where they got their money from, who handed over their money? I guess he I don't know if he knows. I'm not seeing it. We may have pulled that out of today. I was thinking it was still in there, but I'm not seeing it myself. So, but he says he doesn't have it. So, the plane full of money that Obama sent over.
That's right. Pallets of cash.
Yes.
There it is.
Yeah. Who's responsible for Iran's nuke program? There it is. And
who truthed that out?
Yeah. Trump truthed it.
So you can take it to the bank.
Yep. So just so we know.
So again, you got to understand, this is not even just the Iranian government that got hit. It's the deep state. It's this joker sitting in the picture right here that they were actually taking the bunker buster to.
Yeah. Well, President Trump was busy this weekend. Another truth that he did. So President Trump is calling for a special prosecutor to investigate the 2020 election fraud. I think it's great that y'all know, I keep saying we're not moving forward until a few things happen.
That's
and
right.
I have said over and over and over and over that the election fraud of 2020 has got to be addressed. It has to be addressed. Yep. How do we be okay with going and voting, knowing that the machines are rigged and the fix is in?
Right, they're being hacked and this, that, and the other. So look,
Yeah.
until we get control of a
Mhm.
legitimate electoral system, the Democrats are going to continue to cheat. They're going to continue to win. They're going to continue to have. Look, we got people in offices right now that are not supposed to be there. They're only
Mm.
there because they cheated their way into office. Obama did not win 2 terms.
Yeah.
They were stolen. So you got to remember this is the damage that these guys have done to America and globally, because you got to remember this is going on globally, not just in America. This is going on globally. Every country across the globe is cheating on their elections.
It's amazing. All right. I've got this video I saw over the weekend. I was like, this is so true. I love that this man was speaking up. So he's talking about the difference between a white liberal and a white conservative, which, by the way, he also then says patriot. So white conservatives / patriots. Let's take a look at this video. So good.
You want to know the difference between a white liberal and a white conservative? See, white liberals, they try to fight for us, meaning they try to think that we're inferior and they think they're superior. They think we're brainless idiots. They think we're stupid, like we don't know how to think for ourselves. And then they get mad when we have a different political view than they do. So now they feel like they got to fight for us even more to try to get us back on the Democratic plantation. That's a white liberal. A white conservative or a patriot, whatever you want to call them, they're not going to fight for us, but they will fight beside us. They'll fight. They'll stand side by side with us. You want to know why? Because they don't see us as their inferiors. They see us as a neighbor. They see us as a human being. They see us as Americans. That's the difference between a white liberal and a white conservative.
Yeah, that's so
Powerful.
true.
Powerful
Yeah,
stuff.
a lot of the liberals and the Democrats, they're just, a lot of them are just racist. It's just unbelievable. But of course, they do the projection where they call patriots racist when they're the
Right.
ones that are racist. It's crazy.
Right.
Okay, Donald Trump has truth doubts, saying Iran has officially responded to our obliteration of their nuclear facilities with a very weak response. I love his verbiage, which we expected, and have very effectively countered. There have been 14 missiles fired, 13 were knocked down, and 1 was set free, puts in quotes, because it was headed in a non-threatening direction. I am pleased to report that no Americans were harmed and hardly any damage was done. Most importantly, they've gotten it all out of their system, and there will hopefully be no further hate. He put hate in all caps. I want to thank Iran for giving us early notice, which made it possible for no lives to be lost and nobody to be injured. I wonder about that. I guess, I don't know what he means by an early notice. I mean, they've been talking crap.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I don't know.
Perhaps Iran can now proceed to peace and harmony in the region and will enthusiastically encourage Israel to do the same. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And then he says, President J. Trump, President of the United States of America.
Well, I mean, at some point it's going to be like here, anywhere other country, that people are going to have to rise up and pretty much get rid of who they got in office, whoever that is, whatever that process looks like. It's different for every country, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether it's an uprising or whether it's an election, whatever the case may be. But if you don't have, again, we go back to what you were saying, if we don't have legitimate elections all over the globe, what good is having an election? Because they're going to keep getting in and cheating and this, that, and the other.
Yeah. Okay. Linmar96 says, Mark, I have a notebook of your prophecies. Read them often. So amazing to me how God reveals his plans. I just want to point out that the only one, when the election got stolen, the only one that didn't go on the apology tour was Mark. That was the big prophet,
All glory goes to God.
Yep. He's like, no, I'm not apologizing. He did win.
Nope.
And I think we're going to learn that. But everybody else, Jeremiah Johnson, all of them, they were, prophesying all kinds of stuff, and then went out after the 2020 election and started doing the big apology.
But there's something I'm a little confused here. So if Trump comes out and they do a legitimate investigation and they find out Trump won 2020, are they going to have to go out and apologize for apologizing? I'm just curious.
I think so. I'm sure they will.
So that would make them double false then at that point, I guess.
Maybe what they'll do is just come out and be like, well, look, I was right. I was wrong that I was right, but it turned out I was really right.
Yeah. Should have stuck to your
And
guns.
so, mhm. Okay, Mrs. MJ Norris says, I'm confused. I thought this too, Mrs. MJ Norris. So I'm confused. How is it that the U.S. has so many more air fighters when we have had years of leadership that's cutting the military? Well, even though they were cutting the military, we already had those, I think. And then also it was built up during Trump's time, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so I think that's it, honey. Because I was like you at first. I initially, when I saw that video, was like, well, wait a minute. And then it took me a second. I was like, okay, this makes sense. And so that's what I think is going on here. Even our cutting back is still more than most people's every day.
Right.
So we have to keep that in. That's a great way to say that. So I hope that helps Mrs. MJ Norris. I'm wondering if she's related to Chuck Norris. I love a good Chuck Norris joke. Okay. So the AG of Florida, Alligator Alcatraz. Have you heard about it? Listen to this. Now, I just want to say, I have said this before. I even said it when I was in North Carolina the other day. I said to the guys, Jenica's husband and all the guys unloading the truck, I was like, without you guys, we couldn't do this. And I'm like, I always say I was not created or made to do what men do, and men don't do what I do. And so we're all good in the hood. I love a great manly man taking care of business. And whether it's a firefighter or it's somebody unloading the trucks and doing all the stuff that I can't do. And so I love it. And this guy is a perfect example. Let's take a look.
Attorney General James Uthmeyer here at the Miami-Dade Collier Training Facility. This is an old, virtually abandoned airport facility right in the middle of the Everglades. Florida's been leading on immigration enforcement, supporting the Trump administration and ICE's efforts to detain and deport criminal aliens. The governor tasked state leaders to identify places for new temporary detention facilities. I think this is the best one. As I call it, Alligator Alcatraz. This 30 square mile area is completely surrounded by the Everglades. Presents a efficient, low-cost opportunity to build a temporary detention facility because you don't need to invest that much in the perimeter. If people get out, there's not much waiting for them other than alligators and pythons. Nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Within just 30 to 60 days after we begin construction, it could be up and running and could house as many as 1,000 criminal aliens. This presents a great opportunity for the state of Florida to work with Miami-Dade and Collier counties. Alligator Alcatraz, we're ready to go.
All right, when he says temporary facility, I'm thinking like what you mentioned. You said, well, they can just put some pitch a tent and be there.
Listen, unless you've been in the Everglades and know what the Everglades is about, you have no clue the torture these guys would go through down there, because I am telling you, the mosquitoes down there will literally carry you off. We used to saltwater fish out of the Everglades. It would be like a saltwater canal would come in from out from the Gulf, and we would fish that canal a lot of times, and we'd have to wear B-nets, long sleeve shirts. I mean, and right at dusk, it sounded like B-52s coming in. Bzzz, that's all you'd hear. That's how bad the mosquitoes were.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Well, then they'd want to go back to their own country.
Yeah, listen. I mean, there's an old Charlie Daniels song talks about that very thing. You handcuff them in the swamp, let the gators and the snakes do the rest. So, I mean, honestly, it's a great idea.
All right, let's take a look. Trump, I told you earlier that he's been very busy truthing, and he had another truth post that actually was talking about the border, and so the border crossings. And so let's take a look at that. So he says 0 border crossings for the month for the month for Trump versus 60,000 for sleepy, crooked Joe Biden, a man who lost the 2020 presidential election by a landslide. Yep. He says Biden was grossly incompetent and the 2020 election was a total fraud. The evidence is massive and overwhelming. A special prosecutor must be appointed. This cannot be allowed to happen again in the United States of America. Let the work begin. What this crooked man and his corrupt cronies have done to our country in 4 years is grossly indescribable. Make America great again. Okay, so
he's telling you right here again that it was fraud. He's telling you he's got the evidence is massive and overwhelming. So I mean, he's telling us right here.
It's pretty good. I mean, he keeps bringing it up. And, he's talking about the border crossing here, but then he's talking about them again, gets transferred over and somehow transitions into speaking about the election fraud. I'm just reminded, Mark, that just give him a minute, because even when he looks like he's down or he's wrong about something, he always ends up being right. Always.
Right.
And so we know he's right about, and that the election was stolen. We know it.
Right.
And so we're getting ready to see it. We just don't know how it's all going to end up coming out. But he's been calling for the special prosecutor over the weekend. He's putting out tweets or truths like this. So I just want to make sure everybody knows about this. Let's see. So Joey Huckabee says, I trust our president, but I can't help but think that Trump has to give the masses
Barabbas.
What is that?
Barabbas. That was the character in the Bible that they gave up for Jesus.
Yes. To appease the ones that say they're MAGA, but really aren't. Yes. They will demand arrest and perp walks.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So let's keep going. Weather warfare. Let's take a look at this image about the weather warfare, producer Ron. So, I don't know if he knows which one I'm talking about. All right, zero board. Well, that was the one we just did. So DeSantis signs a bill banning weather modification in Florida. Okay, so let's talk about this. Of course, here we go, where you actually truth this out or retruth this. So breaking news, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has signed a new law banning geoengineering and weather modification in the state's skies. The problem here for me, okay, is that Tennessee was down this road 11 months ago. Oh, everybody got excited. It's been outlawed. It's been banned. And then we find out that it was all just nothing but a bunch of headlines. It was a bunch of nothing. Right. And I think that's going on also with another headline that's going on right now. Show this about Texas Governor Greg Abbott has signed a new law requiring the 10 Commandments be displayed in public schools, in the classrooms. I mean, look at what they've already done with the Muslim communities in their states. Producer Ron was in Texas not too long ago, a couple months ago at the most, when we were on spring break. And he went to Texas, and he said that, he drove by and saw big communities built. They weren't even the ones we've been talking about. It's worse than we even know.
Right. So, I mean, look, between the weather warfare and this, they've allowed unfortunately, they've allowed Islam to establish a beachhead in the United States.
Yeah.
So the same thing goes with the weather warfare. The weather warfare, like you said, Tennessee implemented theirs 11 months ago. They've not done anything about it until you have a governor, I believe, that has the cojones to literally send up the National Guard, Air National Guard, and escort these planes to the ground. This is not going to stop. Now, that talk about making a headline, talk about making, a statement right there, that would do it.
All right. So this is not, well, first of all, I want to go on and say this though, Mark. Show me something tangible.
Right.
I want a plane shot down. I want a pilot that is doing this, engineering, this, what we like to call, geoengineering or weather warfare. I want somebody arrested. I want somebody going to VENMO for treason, because to me, this is treason.
This is a weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah.
Period. So what you don't sit there and give me an excuse. You don't have the right to shoot that plane out of the air. What's the difference in that? And basically, the only difference is the altitude. If that plane was up 500 feet off the deck spraying that stuff, everybody would be crying foul, right? They'd be crying. What's the difference in that and 5,000 or 50,000? Who cares? It's still up in a mass destruction.
Yeah, I need something tangible. That's just where I'm at with this. Yeah. And okay, so we went to North Carolina on Thursday. Wednesday, they had more storms up there. Guess what happened? The interstate got shut down all over again. It's horrific what's happened. It took us an extra 2 hours to get to where we were going because of the storms that happened the day before. So we're talking about now we're all the way back to where we started back 9 months ago when it comes to the interstate system up there on 80 was 40. And so, it's insane. You should see the traffic. It's insane everywhere. It's around Asheville, all of it. And so, these people are living like this. And it's all, I believe it has to do with the weather warfare we've been experiencing. They had weather warfare.
All right. Can we put that graph back up real quick? Because I did a truth on that. I'd like to read that truth real quick, if that's okay.
The not normal storms?
Yeah, the not normal, that one there. Okay.
So this is ABC 13, and he says this is not normal. While the Atlantic Basin is dead quiet, so far this hurricane season, the Eastern Pacific is cranking out storm after storm, including now Category 3 Hurricane Eric. This is highly unusual for a storm to get this strong so close to Mexico so early in the season. In fact, I can't find a major hurricane landfall on Mexico's Pacific coast in the historic record before September. You can't even find one. No. We're keeping up to date. We're keeping you up to date on what's happening in the tropics all season long here. Okay, Mark.
Okay, so when you look at this, and this was, what, 5 days ago almost that he put this out? So I put this out. I shared it out on Truth Social, and I said, folks, this is not good. This is purposely being done to bring America to destruction. If President Trump and Secretary of Defense Hegseth don't get control of the weather weapons, this will be one of the most cataclysmic years beyond anything we have ever seen in the history of weather catastrophes. Stop the weather weapons now. America first. They are trying to cause as much chaos and destruction as they possibly can, as fast as they can. This is way beyond chemtrails at this point, is what I put. We have technology even beyond the chemtrails that are generating these storms right now at this point. This guy's never seen this in history. And here you have 120 mile an hour sustained winds right here, 130 mile an hour gusts. That's not including the forward movement. You got to include the forward movement in all this, guys. So, I mean, this is ridiculous. So this tells me we are in for a catastrophic, historic season here if Trump and Hegseth don't get control of the weather weapons, which I believe is falling underneath DARPA. It's falling underneath the military-industrial complex. And unfortunately, it's going to take the military going in and taking over the military to get control of it.
That's right. Krug Mom 1 says, I think the more states that pass these laws on weather modification, the more it will be enforced. So many people aren't aware of weather modification. It needs to be brought out to mainstream. All right. So I disagree, Krug Mom 1. And the reason is because we already know through Steve Jarvis and his connections with being part of the Baja Coalition, he's going to be here tomorrow. We're going to talk more about this and what he's finding out about it. And of course, his farm plan as well. And we're going to find out more on all of that. But it is so far up and every agency is involved. So these states can pass laws all they want to, but when the military,
that's right.
And I don't know if there's any truth to this, but supposedly the states only have so far up of the land space, so many feet above the ground. And then after that, the military owns it or whatever. And so that's where they're doing the chemtrailing. And so the weather warfare. So it doesn't matter how many states want to pass laws. And like Tennessee, like we found out from Gary Humble when he was on with us with Tennessee Stands back a few months ago. And I asked him, he's knee deep in politics in Tennessee. And I said, why isn't it that people aren't being arrested? And why, when these laws were passed, we don't understand. People are like, why are there chemtrails in the skies, all over the skies? And Tennesseans confused as all get out about it. And he says, well, first of all, it was never even declared or explained who's going to monitor it, who's going to hold them accountable, and what's going to be done. That's so if you do this, when there's a law passed, isn't there usually some kind of okay, if this happens, this is going to be a felony, or it's not a felony, or it's going to be this, and you're going to go to jail for this many years to this many years. Well, so you do, I don't know, did Florida straighten that out? Have they, in this law that, this big law that they passed last week that DeSantis signed, I think it's a big, fat nothing burger. Yep. And I'm just telling you now, just like the stuff with, the 10 commandments need to be displayed. Okay, the same guy who's been governor all these years, by the way, pictured with, baby Trump at, baseball games and stuff. So, this Greg Abbott over Texas, the governor of Texas, I'm sorry, I'm just not, I need to see something tangible. I'm talking real tangible. Yeah. And so these laws, not tangible. Tell me what you're going to do and show me. Shoot somebody down first. Let me see something. I mean,
exactly. No, I'm serious. I'm dead serious with that. Until they get the cojones to do that, this is going to continue, right? To set the example. Look, what is the difference in a mosquito fogger? You ever seen the mosquito fogger trucks come around on the streets?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What is the difference in that and these chemtrails? It's the same thing, guys. They're killing you.
The mosquitoes.
Yeah. So I mean, I had a guy come down across my property from the county, and the cows were sitting at the fence and sprayed the cows, every one of them, right in the face. I jacked this guy, man. I mean, I called up and I was livid, man. And I mean, they don't come down my road anymore, by the way, after that. So the fact is that what's the difference in 50 feet off the deck or 50,000 feet? Because it's catching the jet stream. Over Florida, the two sea breezes collide over Florida. So they know exactly offshore where to catch the sea breezes, and they come in and they collide, and it disperses from there. So again, if you had 500 feet off the deck and these planes were coming across your house dumping this stuff, you would have outrage all over the place. But because everybody looks in the air and they go, oh, hey, I'm used to this. I was born with this. I was raised with chemtrails. I've seen them since I was born, right? It's just a normal facet of life. Nobody gives it a second thought. But if you change that to 500 feet off the deck, it'd be a different story.
Sure. And I'm just telling you, it's a big nothing burger with this stuff. It's just like Florida's just like Tennessee. And then, Dotson06 says North Dakota fought hard and we voted no more weather modification in North Dakota and won. But I still see it.
There it is.
There you go. It doesn't matter.
It's a military op.
That's right. It's a big nothing burger. It gets everybody excited. There's a bunch of headlines. It makes us think something's getting done. Oh, we got that put to bed now. It's all good. It doesn't matter how many states pass it. It won't matter. All right. And I'm telling you now, I've already got the inside scoop and we're going to discuss it on tomorrow's show. I'm telling you now, there's a lot of people that are signing off on this program. This isn't just one place. And so let me go over here to our sites.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, our side 62 says, according to RFK Jr., he mentioned DARPA, which is part of the military. I wonder if this has anything to do with Eisenhower meeting with the dark side and has a deal made then to get technology. Okay, well, here's the thing. So it's way bigger than one department. There are about 17 or 18 departments, the military. It turns out there's a bunch. And RFK's department is one of the departments. So when he says that he can't make it stop, he can't make it stop. But did he tell you the whole story? Did he tell us all the complete truth, or did he leave some things out? And from my in my research and what I'm finding out, he didn't quite tell us the whole truth. But we'll see what Steve has to say tomorrow on it. It's just very interesting. But it's a lot of people that are in on it. A lot bigger than what we could have imagined, I believe.
Well, I think every pilot that has been spraying America, or globally for that fact, should go down with treason.
Yes.
They should go down with treason. They should be executed for treason. I have seen literal pictures of these guys in the cockpit holding up their patches. They're proud of their little patches on their shirts that talking about the show spraying the skies. Those guys should be charged with treason.
Yeah, I agree. Mrs. Jeanette Jackson says, I want every acre back from China. As a real estate professional for 25 years and farmer, every darn inch. Ditto, honey, ditto.
Yep.
I'm right there with you. My guess is that RFK is not allowed to say. He could say if he was over it. I mean, RFK, what does that mean? So he gets hired to do a job and then is told not to say? Of course, he's not allowed to say, but somebody's found out what's going on. And the truth is going to come out. But, well, he's not allowed to say. So, I mean, are you going to be part of the problem? Or are you going to be part of the solution? I mean, I'm just wondering.
And here's the other thing too. And look, I was screaming from the rooftops that right before that election for 2 years, I was screaming that there was something coming for that last election. And I got aggravated with President Trump because he sat there in North Carolina next to Franklin Graham, said, we didn't know this was coming. We didn't know it was going to be this bad. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. I was been screaming this for 2 years. What do you mean? I am telling people now, if Trump is listening to this, please, this is going to be catastrophic because the deep state is going to do as much damage as they possibly can. Well, look what they're doing right now, for crying out loud, in every aspect right now. We haven't even gotten to the Iranian terror cells yet. So, I mean, and they're talking that right now, we're under an alert right now on Homeland Security. So, again, they're going to try and create as much damage and chaos as they possibly can to make Trump look bad, and they're going to do it using the weather. He's got to get control of it, man.
Yeah. Okay. I remember Mark saying that these terrorists were being put up in hotels by our government. He said that like 5 or 6 years ago. He's always on point. Love you, Mark. Indiana is horrible. Just had to put my dad in assisted living. He can't breathe, but this makes it all worse. I've had numerous viewers say that their breathing is very hard when these chemtrails are going on. He says it makes it all worse. We're all affected by it. It's not just the storms. What are we breathing? Exactly. Yeah. Let's see. RFK has done nothing. My guess is that RFK is not allowed to say. People need to use critical thinking and stop listening to these false 501c3 prophets. crimes against humanity. Yeah, it goes on and on. And so until it stops and until we start hearing, I mean, I get emails every day from viewers, Mark, all over the country, telling me, really all over the world. I get emails from people in other countries, and they tell me about the different chemtrailing and what state they're in and what time, and send me photos all the time. And so we're seeing it just across the board, everywhere from Utah to California. It's all over. Of course, Tennessee and Florida. Some of the worst ones I've ever seen, though, personally, was in Florida, of all places. Donnie M says, dismantle these agencies and start again. Why in the world? Dismantle a lot of them. They're not even operating legally or lawfully. Like the CIA shouldn't even be in operation anyways. And the FBI, they need to burn that down and start over. MAGA Granny KAG says, we had chemtrails up in North Carolina or California in the Sierra Mountains. High winds that day. I watched a cloud form and stayed in one area for hours with the high winds. Wow. I saw something this morning where a guy is reporting that the same cloud, same shape and everything, appears like day after day in the same spot.
Wow. Nothing surprises me anymore.
I know I hadn't heard of that before until today, but that didn't surprise me either. I know you want to talk. Let's see here. So let's talk about Trump's truth about the green credits, the green tax credits. I always like to talk about taxes. I hate green tax, that and homeschooling. I hate green tax credits in the great big beautiful bill. They are largely a giant scam. I'm starting to wonder if the great big beautiful bill is a way to call out and bring attention to some things. So we're going to see how this keeps playing out, but that's just why I haven't talked a whole lot about against Trump pushing for the bill. Now, Steve Jarvis and I talk about it on the phone and stuff, and he'll be here tomorrow. We'll talk some about it, but I'm just saying I've stayed quiet about the big beautiful bill because Trump looked like he was pushing it, but yet then all of a sudden he's like starting to expose things about it. So I think it's very interesting. And this is one of those things. He says they're largely a giant scam. I would much prefer that this money be used somewhere else, including reductions. Anywhere would be preferable. Windmills and the rest of this junk are the most expensive and inefficient energy in the world, is destroying the beauty of the environment, and is 10 times more costly than any other energy. It's all true. None of it works without massive government subsidy. Energy should not need subsidy. Oh, really? What does he know? Also, it is almost exclusively made in China. Oh, I didn't know that. Makes sense. It is time to break away finally from this craziness. That's exactly what it is, craziness.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, again, what's in this bill that we don't know about? I mean, there's other stuff that's in this bill, like the Second Amendment stuff's in there. We've got this stuff in there. There's a bunch of stuff that's in there. They always put a boatload of stuff in there they don't really want people to see or hear or do when they pass everything. So, some of the Second Amendment stuff is good. Some of it could be actually bad for blue states. So, I mean, but this stuff right here, these windmills that they have. I mean, people don't understand how big those things are. What are they, like 400 feet? That's 40 floors, guys. I mean, they're 12 feet in the ground. They take up an acre a piece. I mean, they said, well, it's clean. There's just nothing clean about it. It takes oil to run these things to run this thing or to put it up to the cranes. I mean, all this other stuff. It's just what a scam.
I know. Top FEMA official resigns as Trump announces plans to phase out the agency by year end.
Bye-bye.
I think that's interesting as well. I think the writing's on the wall for FEMA. Yep. I think that this has to do, I mean, look at how many people in North Carolina we know. We have kept up with this. We're going to talk with Jenica today in just a little bit. And I can tell you right now, FEMA's not doing much of anything in North Carolina, Asheville, Swannanoa. I drove around. It looks pretty much the same, except for one bridge. And that was done months ago. So it's just very devastating to see what little has been done for the people there. Yeah. Yeah. So, I think it all goes
that's in every state. That's, I mean, you can go back to Lahaina, you can go back to the fires that are going on in LA. I mean, all this stuff, the hurricanes here in Florida, nothing's been done by FEMA.
Yeah. Yeah. So. And now I did speak with a FEMA contact that I have, and they're in LA right now. And he said that there's a lot of incompetence And so he said the site reports and things that they do, he said they're done terribly. He said that there's lack of communication, lack of training, a lot of laziness. And so he says that that's just widespread within FEMA. And so
I think that's widespread everywhere.
I know. You're right.
It don't figure the post office, the bank, a restaurant, it don't matter. Incompetencies everywhere.
Oh, I was just at the DMV this morning. Don't even talk to me about incompetence.
That is bad there.
Yeah, don't even. I can tell you stories just from today. All right. So the UK, let's talk about this. So we have 3 different stories we're going to cover with the UK. The first one is they have passed assisted dying. So this allows for adults who are terminally ill to be provided with assistance to end their own lives. I mean, this is in the UK. Mark, what does this do spiritually when you're starting to do things like that, and then the parliament approving abortion legalization up to the moment of birth?
Right. The UK is in a death spiral right now. I will say that. I mean, you think America's bad right now. The UK is really bad right now. We need to be praying for our folks over there in the UK right now, for people to wake up, because the Muslims have taken over. Islam's taken over. You have this UK or the abortion thing you're talking about. I mean, everything's just in a death spiral over there right now. This prime minister they have, I guess it's the prime minister, you call him, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness, what a joke. He is literally killing that country, but so is their parliament. See, here we go again. It's not so much the people as it is those in charge. Now, how did these people get in this place of governance? It's probably by cheating on an election. These elections are global. It's not just America. What's going on here in America is only a snapshot of what's happening globally, guys, so that the cabal can stay in charge.
That's right. That's right. And then the third story with them is every baby in the UK will undergo DNA testing with whole genome sequencing under new NHS plan.
Not good.
Why do they need to be doing that? Well, what do they do with those results?
Yeah.
Is this going to help them to come out with the next shot that they're going to make everybody take? Yeah, it's more warfare. And so this is not
more
good
technology to control that type of DNA.
Yep. That's right. So those are the 3 stories we wanted everybody to know about from the UK. We just covered that, producer Ron. And so the next one is, so we have a video for you. So violent mob attack border. Well, actually, this is not a video. This is, I think, just an image. So over the weekend, we had some of this last Monday, Mark, where we had, we showed that video about the people that were protesting, attacking the ICE agents. Now we've got a mob attacking Border Patrol in LA suburbs of Maywood and Bell. Cars were rammed, tires slashed, and windows were smashed. What is going on with people? Like, where's their mamas? My kids.
I don't. But is this actually mobs, or is this Antifa again? Again, this is hard to tell. So unless you go out there, start busting heads, taking these guys down, like we've talked about 100 times, water cannons, make water cannons great again. We talked about all these different things. I mean, they're not going to be standing there long. Again, this to me is not having a zero tolerance policy. What needs to happen is a zero tolerance policy on all this stuff.
Yeah.
So, and again, we haven't even gotten into the Iranian terror cells, guys. So everyone needs to be carrying. Everyone's need to keep their head on a swivel. If you see somebody with a backpack, stay away from them right now. I think they just have somebody with a explosive belt overseas go off somewhere. Got some people. So use common sense right now. Period.
Yeah. I don't like to go anywhere where there are a lot of people. I'm not going to the mall.
Not right now. Not right now.
Okay. All right. Over the weekend, I saw this video. So this lady used to work at a grocery store. I'm telling you, grocery store employees know a lot about what these illegals are having, or what the illegal immigrants are getting, because they're seeing it at the grocery store. Listen to this lady. It's amazing. So we've got a video here. Let's see.
That when I worked at the grocery store and I cashed them out, the receipts were alarming. $13,000 on EBT food, not including the $29,000 that was on EBT cash.
They had $30,000 on their EBT cash balance left.
Yes.
And as a cashier, you can see that.
Yes.
And you're like, holy, with 30 grand on
It's infuriating.
on one person's car.
It's infuriating. Yes, sir.
So they're not getting 600.
And while they're
a month.
dressed very well, how are you able to dress like that? Coming over here as running for help that we're supposedly helping them, how are you dressed like that when we, the American people, are scrapping for the next set of work boots? That's a problem. That's a serious problem.
This is absolutely insane.
Yeah. I mean, again, we've allowed this to take a foothold. They don't have a foothold. They got a beachhead established in America. These illegals. I mean, it doesn't matter. So again, until we start getting tough. Now, again, I've been saying this for a while. Are they waiting for something to happen where they can deploy the military on American soil? I don't know, because there's legalities involved with that. So if the Iranian terror cells cut loose on the American people, which I don't want to see, but I have a feeling it's coming, because twice now over the last year or two, Trump has said 100% we're going to get hit. 100%. He has said that twice, which tells me something's coming for America. So is that going to be the catalyst where he says, hey, enough's enough, military hit the streets, clean them out, and they use the military to do it, not just the National Guard?
Okay. Joe says, I get $134 a month for EBT. Shameful. Oh, yeah. And then think about all the people that were affected, with Hurricane Helene, the fires in LA, like we've been talking about. What about Hawaii? It's unbelievable. And so that's why we had to show that video. It's just unbelievable. Also, I do want to bring up the Judicial Watch they filed, I think it was some FOIA requests and things, but they're fighting Kash Patel and Pam Bondi for records on Biden regime's Twitter censorship. So this will be interesting. It says they've sued the FBI under the FOIA, to unseal records from meetings between Twitter executives and the Biden FBI to censor the American people. Oh, you mean the truth tellers? We were censored? Yeah. Okay, can you share a little bit about that story?
Yeah, so Tom Fitton put out, it's frustrating. Judicial Watch has had to go to federal court this morning to fight with AG Pam Bondi, DOJ, and FBI Director Kash for basic info on Biden's FBI. Now, the whole gist of this story is, I think they're fed up with the FBI, even under Kash from Patel here, not releasing the records because he said he was going to be transparent. I think that's the gist of this whole thing. He said it's frustrating beyond belief for Judicial Watch to have to go to federal court for basic information on Biden's abuse of the FBI using Twitter to censor and monitor Americans, said Judicial Watch Tom Fitton. Fitton said after hearing that the DOJ was arguing why the American people should not be able to see what the Biden FBI was planning with Twitter. So he's got a lot of frustrations going on here. And he says the only issue remaining in the lawsuit is the FBI's continued hiding of records documenting 2 meetings between Twitter and the Biden FBI. So the group has really reported out to public statements from FBI Director Kash Patel saying, how he's going to be integrity, accountability, unwavering, but yet they're still continuing to not give this stuff to people. So.
Yeah, very interesting. All right, one last thing I wanted to show everybody. We'll read over a couple of comments and then we'll let you go. I know you're still not feeling very well, and so, but let's show the video. So the New York Mets, as of last week, hadn't won a baseball game since flying the pride flag. And this is the New York Mets. Yeah. And so, Ron, let's show the video, please. Yeah, playing it. Unbelievable. Showing that, at the games and stuff. And so they got to push that agenda. Push that agenda. All right, let's read a couple of comments here. I work groceries, see it on the daily. Sandy 0114 says, wow. So she's seeing it daily. That's amazing. Aqua Girl 7 says $400 EBT free food, 2 carts full by a lady who couldn't speak English with full painted nails and a veteran outside with a food begging I'm hungry sign. See, this is what, yeah. FEMA land grabbed here in Southeast Kentucky. Remembering when Pelosi said years ago that we need to pass the bill so that you know what's in it. Yeah, right. Well, we're finding out, aren't we? A little bit. Trump keeps pushing it out a little bit here and there. I live in Savannah, Georgia. Ryan P. 2550 says they have been hammering me here. And there's an army base in Savannah. I had to be outside for about 5 hours and was laid up the next day. So, Ryan, what kind of symptoms? So you were laid up. What was going on? Was it hard for you to breathe, or what's going on with you being outside? I'm thinking about the people that have to mow the yards. I know you mow your yard.
Yeah.
And so what's, how's that going to impact people, especially people with a couple of acres outside doing lawn work for a few hours? What's that going to do with their breathing? And,
Well,
and
I go back to the mosquito fogger analogy. You also just be standing next to a mosquito fogger, because that's basically what they're doing. Just a higher altitude.
All right. So Cousin 77 says, gee, I'm here in Virginia and I'm looking at one chemtrail in the sky right now as we speak. Geez. Skies are no longer blue. They are white. Yeah, I know what you mean. I watched chemtrails being sprayed 2 p.m. today over Charlotte, North Carolina. D Chirks 57 says, this is the comment I wanted to make sure we got back to, said, I have seen the checkerboards in every state we travel. That's the only time I've ever seen a checkerboard, a full-blown checkerboard, was in Florida. And it was shockingly it's just in our face. They don't care.
Nope.
JBJ Beanie says, I used to work at the county building in Naples, Florida, when the illegals would come in and ask for legal aid while they had their painted nails and Gucci bags and sunglasses. No. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up.
Nope.
Mark.
Nope. This is why we put Trump in office, was to clean this mess up.
That's right.
We're tired
That's
of
right. D Chirk 57 said, we watch our kids struggle paycheck to paycheck with us doing what we can. They are all employed and hardworking kids. And to see the handouts that go out to some of these recipients, I know. I told my husband, I said that I was just saying this to my husband yesterday. I said, the writing's on the wall. We're going to have to help our kids. And our kids are doing amazing work for their age, especially doing things with a very large company that they say is, they're the youngest to do these things, both of them. And they're doing incredible in leadership, management, the whole thing. They're not making enough money, and so but you sit here and you see, oh my goodness. Eyes of a Lady said, husband was just diagnosed with pneumonia the day after yard work. He stirred dust trying to cut weeds back. Within 24 hours or less, he's extremely sick. 2 trips to the ER less than a week ago. I'm so sorry to hear of that, Eyes of a Lady. That helps me to see I know that with the chemtrails, we've heard from numerous viewers saying that, reporting that with the chemtrails, they're having a hard time being able to breathe and having asthma and just, it's really bad, really bad.
And it's only going to get worse until they handle this, because I'm just telling you, they're going to stir up, just like the weather modification here, which this has to do with. They're going to stir this stuff up even worse.
Okay, so this is interesting. Sarasota, Florida, of all places. Well, we know who lives there. I live in Sarasota. Haven't seen a chemtrail in 3 weeks. My friend in Lakeland hasn't seen any either. That's interesting. Flynn lives in Sarasota, so maybe that's why you don't see any. Texas Tan Girl says they picked up a guy who has been in the States over 25 years. No criminal record, but illegal. He was taken in by Homeland Security, so they are picking up all across the board. It has to be done.
Yep.
Great. That's great.
Yep.
Mark, before we let you go, do you have any closing thoughts or anything you'd like to share?
Just be safe out there right now, because, this thing with Iran, I'm just telling you, even Homeland Security's put that warning out right now. So just keep your head on a swivel. Stay armed everywhere you go, guys. Don't go around big crowds right now until this stuff's over. Just use common sense. You know what I mean? You see somebody with a backpack, you see something, say something.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Mark. We'll see you next Monday.
Thank you for having me.
All right. I always appreciate Mark being with us. I know you guys do too. We do have Jenica here with us today from North Carolina. She's here to just report back on just kind of what's going on. I asked her to come on, and, we were just together last week when we went back to North Carolina for our 8th trip. Took $35,011.43 worth of food and supplies, much needed supplies. And so let's go on ahead and bring her in. Producer Ron, thank you. Hi, Jenica.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Can't complain.
Well, you look much cooler than last week when we were there.
They was a little hot today, but I got to stay out of the sun. So
Yeah, yeah. You were sweating last week. It was hot. Well, Jenica, I appreciate you, touching base with us. And so, one thing I wanted to make sure that we talked about, many of my viewers know that you had been helping to build these structures. We can't call them tiny homes because they didn't have bathrooms and kitchens, but you had these structures. And now it's been great because some of those structures have been able to go onto a piece of property and make almost like a little miniature community. And you got to go and visit. So share with us what you saw and what you learned and what you've been seeing there.
So, as you guys know, a lot of the housing got taken out, and that was including apartment complexes. So, just an apartment complex in my town, for example, was roughly over 300 people. And so some of these people obviously don't have land or family in the area. So a couple of people that I know have purchased property and started building little villages with the structures that were being built in Western North Carolina. And they're setting them up with proper driveways and proper roads. And they are hoping to set them up with electricity and water. They'll have kind of like a camping set where it has like a public bathroom and shower. And a lot of them are also going to have like small little kitchenette areas so they could cook and actually have like full-sized ovens and things like that.
That's amazing.
To see, not all of them are up and fully running. The one I was visiting, they didn't have water yet, which was in the works. And I think they were 3 weeks away from getting power done to theirs. So
now, one of the things you mentioned to me was that most of the people you noticed were either single moms with children or older couples.
Older couples, veterans, single mom with children. I think when you're building these communities, because of how small these little villages and stuff are, safety is a big concern. And especially getting children out of cars or unsafe situations, or they're only allowed to stay in the shelters for so long. So getting them out into their own little home where they can have some of their things again is important. Hence why you see a lot more of the elderly and single moms with children.
Oh, I see. Okay. What is your area like right now? So I know that, everybody knows that you're in Swannanoa, North Carolina, but what's it been like as far as, are you seeing much? We're hearing that Trump approved $2 billion and then with the big country concert raised all these, millions, $20 million. Are you seeing things 9 months later now starting to happen, or where is this money going?
Our guess would maybe be the cleanup of the riverbeds and things like that. Otherwise, we're not 100% sure. It was supposed to go to some main organizations, but some of these main organizations that the money was donated to are countrywide. So we don't know if all of the money actually was designated to North Carolina. We haven't really seen the money. Right now, it is still people like you, your followers. It's still a couple of the local nonprofits who are still raising money to put people in houses, fix roofs that still haven't been fixed. We're not 100% sure where any of that money has gone. No designated sign of where it's been, except for, like I said, possibility of the cleanup in the rivers. And that is about it.
Okay. Wow. So I'm just kind of speechless.
Yeah.
Wow. We hear $20 million right out the gate, and then we hear the $2 billion that Trump signed for FEMA, but then we hear that FEMA is starting to be kind of shut down and they're starting to scale back, which, I've yet to find anybody that FEMA's really helped anyways. So, I mean, at this point, might as well just go on ahead and call it a day with FEMA as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But to not give anything?
A small example is Swannanoa had one of the very last shower and washing stations for clothing. And
Yes.
to find out, it's $28 million and it was open for, I think, about 7 months, months, give or take, it was open for. And it cost $28 million. And we thought FEMA was going to be covering that cost. And now it is us taxpayers who have to cover the 27, it's in between 27, 28 million for that washing station.
Yeah, there's no way. Is that the one that's on the same street as your,
Yes.
yeah, I drove by there back months ago and saw that. There is no way.
It averaged it that about every shower had to cost around $200.
Yeah.
And wash and dry your clothes would cost you $100 a load.
Yeah, just go to the laundromat that was next door to your business and call it a day. That's insanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is government working for you, though. That's what I call that is corruption, as we've learned through the years and how that works. That's why airplanes are, hundreds of millions of dollars that shouldn't be the kind of expenses. That's why Trump was able to get a lot of these planes so much cheaper because, they're charging you, $15 per screw. And what it really is there's kickbacks that are built in for people that are working in the Pentagon. Come to find out. So there's a lot of that kind of craziness going on. And so you guys, the taxpayers who have already been hit in every way possible, are now supposed to be paying for this place. This is insane. I mean, I should have taken some pictures of that. I have to go back and look and see if I have some video or photos of that, because I mean, it was really literally just like trailers, like shower trailers that had been moved in.
Yeah, they
Give me a
set
break.
2 big tents that had heat in them. So you had a waiting area, and then a lot of us would sometimes bring food, like fresh food, apples, things that could expire easily, would bring. So people had some food. They could play games and wait for all their stuff. It was a small little hangout, but it was just in the parking lot of our small little town's community pool. It wasn't anything huge or special, but to cost somewhere in between 27 to 28 million dollars that we have to pay for is ridiculous.
All right. So Little Debbie 55 says the concert in Charlotte raised millions of dollars and it was to be used to build houses for the people in the mountains. That's right. Have they started building houses for the people yet? Is FEMA let them build? As FEMA, I think she means.
We haven't seen anything. The only construction that I have seen is from nonprofits that are bringing in housing, or people from the outside that are helping. FEMA has done nothing but they finally did bring in the trailers, the FEMA trailers. And I think now I believe they have up to 3 years to live in those before FEMA takes them back. And these people have 3 years to be able to find a new home, job, or, location, wherever they choose to go. But as far as FEMA building any houses, I haven't heard of any of that.
No. Okay. Okay. So with FEMA and the trailers, so they just now are getting there?
They're not just getting there. They've been sitting there for a while, but it was it's the same issue that we're going through. It was a merry-go-round for them. So FEMA said that Buncombe County had to get the proper permits. Buncombe County says FEMA had to get the proper permits. So it was a battle. So a lot of these FEMA campers that are not campers, trailers that are up, sat for several months before anyone was even allowed to move into them. And it's been a struggle for a lot of people to even get into them because there's very, very few FEMA trailers, very few of them, for the amount of people that lost housing, homes. Like I said, the apartment complex in just our little area had maybe 300 people in it. And you do that all across Western North Carolina into Tennessee, we're talking thousands and thousands of people who lost their homes.
Sure.
And had to completely relocate, or they're living in the structures or campers because FEMA did not bring in nearly enough trailers for people to live in.
Okay. So people who had, let's say, roof damage, okay, now you had flooding. And so if they didn't have flood insurance, then obviously they weren't going to get help with their roof being replaced. But what about those that had flood insurance? They just happened to have flood insurance. Were they getting their roofs replaced from insurance, or was insurance finding a way to get out of that too?
That part, I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
Most people I know did not have flood insurance. I personally, and out of lots of people that I have talked to and worked with, I don't know anyone that has had a roof covered by FEMA or by insurance. Most people have had to pay for it out of pocket with the hopes that FEMA would pay them back if they turned in receipts for those
Yeah.
kinds of even for us, FEMA finally, it was a week ago, came to our house and looked at our house and told us that we had to file with our insurance company first before they were willing to even talk about anything to do with our roof or the leaking that we had. And we chose just not to go that route because we needed to get our roof fixed a long time ago. So we did it on our own versus waiting for FEMA.
Yeah, 9 months later. Okay.
Not like legitimately came to our house 9 months later after we've kind of just disregarded FEMA and decided that there was no point in waiting for them.
Sure, sure. It's like, I was saying that, I've got this connection with FEMA that said that there's widespread incompetence and lack of training and shortages in employees and all that kind of stuff. But really, they're going to expect you to just, keep your house with the leak going on for 9 months. It's just insane. So as I had mentioned at the beginning of, or right when we brought you on, that we just come back for an 8th trip to North Carolina. Let's take a look at the truck being loaded. Let's take a look at this video.
Okay, Michelle, we're fixing to load your stuff to North Carolina from Houchin's Fruit Group again. All this gotta go on the truck. I'll meet you there.
All right, let's see the truck when it was filled up. Got a picture there of all the pallets in there. And so we arrived. I was just talking earlier about the storm that happened the day before. And so unfortunately, I-40 got closed down again. And so I'm sure the traffic is just quite lovely still. And
yeah. It got better for a little while until the new storm came through. And
yeah,
it's
insane. Okay. So Patty says, no, they're not getting insurance help, even though they had insurance. First of all, most people wouldn't have flood insurance unless you are in a floodplain or a flood zone and are really essentially made to get it. Otherwise, it's so expensive and most people would never get that. And that really, is pretty widespread, I think, for the most part. Most people wouldn't have had it. And so, but even if they did, I'd be surprised if they've really gotten much help at all. And so 300T says in 3 months, this will have been going on for a year. That's right. So very tragic. Lord have mercy. And then it says, but let's send trillions of taxpayers' money across the pond to help out foreign countries. Okay, so let's talk about, we may be small here at the Michelle Moore Show, but we are mighty, is what I like to say. And so this trip was $35,011.43 in help, which brought our grand total to $204,447.11 to North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee, with all the different things we've done, which includes the fans. And we've, by the way, Jenica, I just got an email this morning, and I am being told that all the air conditioners that we purchased were shipped out today, and all were individually packaged and boxed up. So each one, so you should be getting 10 different boxes.
Okay. So, that's fantastic. That might be easier though, at least.
I know. I thought, I was surprised that they sent me an email to tell me that. I would have thought they would have boxed it up separately anyways, but that's perfect. And then you're going to have to let us know how they work and if you like them and if they're working for the people. And if you need more, we'll send more. Okay.
Sounds good.
But anyways, okay. So how is, I would say, like the morale there around town, and what is going on with, a lot of times when something like this happens, a lot of people come in. And one of the things I kept hearing initially was, please don't forget us. And so people were so worried because they could see how much they needed help, but yet, and felt so overwhelmed with all of the need, but then also felt like people were going to leave. They've brought what they were going to bring and they were going to be left, and that was going to be it, and people were going to forget them. And so can you talk a little bit about where you all are and how things have been kind of, are you getting a lot of volunteers still? Are people still coming and helping and bringing supplies, or things kind of slowing down from that part? And, what's that look like?
We kind of did a full circle. We had so much to begin with, and now things slow down a little bit, but we're kind of, that circle's coming back. So stage one of food and shampoos, conditioners, things like that are needed again. Clothing, that was a huge it was great to have all that clothing, but it was also a burden for our area. But now, unfortunately, that clothing part is going to have to come back again. It's everything is done a circle in the needs. We still have every once in a while people coming in and cooking food for people and things like that. Now that the roads are open and some bridges, it's not a huge need anymore, but some areas are, like particular, you, the Michelle Moore show, and all your followers are helping tremendously with feed a child. And now that school is out, these kids, the lack of food in school to begin with was not the greatest. And then now you take these kids away from the only source of food, at least consistent food, that they had at school. So what you guys are doing is helping children who are out of school, parents who are still having to work, now possibly 2 jobs, to even continue to think about moving forward in the area. Veterans who don't have the capability of being able to get in a car and drive or things like that. I had it was a VA living center that was just a couple of miles down the road that was completely wiped out. So a lot of these veterans now are living across the street in a hotel that made it. And then some of them have been spread across, but you're talking veterans in wheelchairs and amputees, some mental PTSD issues. And so they don't like going in crowds. They can't travel. They don't have the means to. So you guys have been able to offer that. A lot of hubs have shut down. There are still a couple that are staying open that I have been working with, making sure that since they're the only hub in their entire town that's left, that some of their supplies are met, especially for the elderly and for the children, and easy meals still. So it's every area has its own thing, like Swannanoa's lack of food. And not only has our grocery store not come back, we just found out that our Family Dollar or dollar store is now shutting down at the end of the month as well. And they had a little mini grocery store in there. So unfortunately, that leaves even more people by the end of this month with no easy place to go grab some food for the family.
Why are they shutting down?
No one knows.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. Well, I know that it's just crazy. And of course,
is when they announced that
2 days ago.
Yep. And we only have one other small, tiny little store in Swannanoa that sometimes has food, sometimes doesn't. But because these were the only 2 stores left in the area, the shelves stayed pretty bare most of the time. And now it's about to be even worse for people in Swannanoa.
Okay. What about the veterans that are staying in the hotel that we've talked about before? I know that you're providing food and stuff from, our viewers' donations and stuff that we bring on the truck. And so is that something that, like, are we able to take food there and there's a closet for food and the veterans come and get what they need? Or how do we know that the veterans are getting what they need?
So the housing that was for the veterans, it was set up kind of like almost an apartment complex. This hotel has taken on the same system. So they are allowed to, I did find this out, they are allowed to keep little fridges and things like that in the hotel rooms, just like they were in their other place. So they can actually store food and have food compatible. They are allowed to have little stove tops, which I just happen to have some still handy from when you guys donated a whole bunch for the structures. So I was able to give some, and a couple of other organizations were able to set up those kinds of systems for the vets living in there. So they basically just shop when they need it, or I have contact with a lady who will go to the place and get a small grocery list for them, and will come and shop at my place and bring to them. It's a little easier coming from someone that they trust and they know versus even me, who might be a local and live there, but they don't know me. So they do like to, they like to be with the people and have it come from people that they've already known or been working with.
Sure. Okay. Well, that's good. And you'll have to let me know if somebody needs a fridge or whatever you're needing. Okay. So we can get that sent to you. Okay. So I know that you always, let's see. So Little Debbie 55 says, is the land valuable there for minerals? Could weather manipulation be so valuable, be used so valuable land could be bought up? I know that there's been a number of people that we've talked with when we've been there that have said, absolutely, that's what's going on. But what do you think, Jenica?
It's still a huge possibility. I know some areas now have been deemed unlivable, and there is coincidences of what's under the ground in those areas, but nothing officially yet. I think it would be too soon. If something were to happen, I think they're trying to make greenways, and these can remain untouched land for a certain amount of time for this to kind of overlap, or people, it becomes yesterday's news, and then eventually you might see some moves. That it really doesn't surprise any of us in that area. At this point, almost anything is possible.
Yeah. Okay. So viewer Patty is asking, how do I go and help? And so do you still take on volunteers? I know you had Bonnie there last week when we were there, but
every once in a while I do, when it's big shipments or I'm reorganizing all my shelves and things like that. Most of the help has still just been like working at the hubs, working in towns, still cleaning up certain areas. Otherwise, it's more of like heavy duty helping, like machinery work and chainsaws. Unfortunately, a lot of that is still happening. Roofing, windows, so plumbing and air conditioning, and with all the new houses going in, it's more of trade work that is needed.
Makes sense.
A lady that I've been helping actually give her some food. She was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer just a few months ago, and her roof was leaking pretty bad. She had horrible plumbing issues since the hurricane, and a company just came in and did the roof for her and the plumbing. So those are more the needs than anything at this moment.
Okay. So let's see. That chain store that shut down, viewer Celeste says that they've closed many nationwide. I was wondering if it was lack of business or something there in Swananoa, which would not make sense because, of course, there's, now that there's no grocery store, you would think that the demand would be even higher. So something else must be going on with them at a corporate level. That makes sense.
Stay open, because it's just one less thing now.
Yeah. Joy Unspeakable says all of this is heartbreaking as it is infuriating. Yeah, it is. It's very difficult to hear some of this, especially like, the crazy amount, $28 million for a place to go and do laundry and take a shower. Okay. So I know that you always like to have an opportunity to just thank our viewers. And so I know that you have some things you want to say. And so now's your chance.
Sounds good. I just want to thank everybody for everything that you guys have continued to do for us, and the fact that you guys have been giving and you're trusting to me, to be able to disperse that food that you have worked so hard to donate to all the people, it's very, very humbling on my end. And people are very, very grateful. It's pretty amazing what you guys have been able to do. And I just thank you guys, all of us from Western North Carolina and on. Thank you guys very much for everything.
I know you get to really work with the people and meet people and see, and know their stories and all that kind of stuff. And so what have you learned through all of this, about just your community and that area?
Honestly, I still go and stand by mountain people are pretty tough. Community and neighboring before this, sometimes you get, and then this world can be a very dark and scary place, but going through something like this, you learn that there are so many good humans out there, and it restores your faith a little bit in humanity. And even though now that the world is slowly going back to normal in our area to some extent, not on a lot of things, but some things are, that people still continue to help and want to help and truly be there to help with the goodness of their heart versus it's not just for show. They're not publicizing it anymore just because people who are still doing this, it's because we all care for each other. It's been a huge learning lesson, that's for sure.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So when I first met you, you had a son who has eczema and it was on his face, and you were saying he's just
Keratosis.
okay. What is it?
And keratosis on top of the
Oh.
eczema. Yep.
Oh, I didn't realize he had that as well. And so I thought you were the one with the keratosis, so I wasn't.
Well, unfortunately, I passed it on to him as well. The poor kid. Right.
All right. And so when I met you, you were saying to me, he's just starting to get old enough to like it's starting to, like affect him.
Yes.
And so so we started working with you for the Godly Granny stuff. And so tell us how he's doing. How's his face doing?
So my kid, on top of the eczema and keratosis, he is also in a hard combat sport. He's in jiu-jitsu. So that's a lot of sweat, a lot of heat. And unfortunately, his skin was taking a toll on that. And like you said, he was at an age now where he was starting to notice that his skin, or it was actually hurting him and bothering him as well. So you started me down this path of Godly Granny, and now I can't imagine doing anything different. I legitimately threw out everything else that I had because his skin has never been clear. It's soft. And while every once in a while, just if we're out in the heat or something like that, extra heat, he has a very small breakout, but it doesn't last long anymore. He's been using the eczema cream. We did the charcoal and then the lemon balm. The lemon balm has been the savior in our house for everybody. I saw what it was doing for his skin and making his skin really soft and clear. No more big bumps that were hurting him. His skin wasn't like flaky. So then everyone else in my house started using it, and including my husband, who is not that kind of person in any shape or form. And I actually just had him use the pain cream for his shoulders from working. And then I also had him use the head and migraine, headache and migraine. And needless to say, he's a fan. And he's normally not a fan of anything like that. So he was like, what is this stuff? And I was like, Godly Granny, I've been telling you about it for months now. So guess what's in my wish order? More things that we're going to purchase down the line for him now that he's discovered this new amazing product.
So which pain product did you use? Was it the Pain Terminator cream?
No, not yet. It was the
warming one.
Warming one.
The plant powered.
We did learn, because it works wonders. It works far superior than Icy Hot that is filled with so much junk that doesn't even work, honestly. And this really worked on his neck through here to the point where he was asking me to put it on him. The only thing we found out is you probably do not want to wear that if you're going to work out in the sun, because it does stay a little extra hot. We were joking, like fanning off his neck. He's like, am I on fire? Learned our lesson that will be for nighttime.
Yeah. And pain terminator cream might be better for him during the day. And you do have some of that. So
yeah, that is actually, we do have some of that you gifted us.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to use that versus the warming gel during the day when he's working out in the sun.
Well, I am so glad to hear that your son is doing better and your husband.
Yes.
And so, but Jenica, thank you for all that you're doing. You know, in a lot of ways, I feel like we do the easy part. We, gather the money and go and, arrange the truck and do the food and, figure out all the stuff on your list and worry about getting you everything that you're needing. But then you've got to, get it organized and manage all of that with the relationships and seeing who needs what and all of that. I know it's a lot. And, it's just amazing because I look and I think, oh my gosh, I don't know if you know this story. I don't remember if I told you, but I remember when I think I told you about this when I was like, God, am I going to really get involved in this? And when I just kept praying and asking God about it, and then it was just very clear that I was to get involved. And I remember thinking, I'm such a goal setter. So I was like, okay, well, $10,000. And I thought, no, I can't even set a goal for 10,000. It just seemed like such a pie in the sky kind of idea or goal. And so I thought, well, if we could raise $7,500 to go toward generators, I would be so excited. And I'd be happy with that. And think that we'd really done some good work and wasn't really sure what that was going to look like. And then by the time we raised the money, people didn't really need generators at the time. Even when I met you and talked with Jimmy, he was like, no, we don't need generators. And I was like, you don't need generators? She's like, no, my wife's already done all that. You know what we need? We need food. And I said, what did you say? And he said, we need food. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm your girl. I got grocery connections. And so anyways, but it's just amazing how things work out. And so it's just amazing.
Coincidence. God has it all planned out. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I might be doing some of the hard labor, but it's not just me doing the hard work. I mean, all your followers, this is their hard-earned money that they had to work. This isn't just free money, it's literally money out of their paycheck that could have gone to their homes or feeding their own family or anything else. So at the end of the day, everyone has put hard work and love into all of this. And just because I'm on the end of being able to work with the families and send out the money, I'm obviously not doing this alone. It is taking all of us to do this. So in my opinion, everyone has worked hard to help Western North Carolina, whether it be money, physically, whatever it may be. So that's right. Thanks is a huge thanks. And it's hard just to say thank you and walk away because nothing I can do can repay people back for the kindness that they have shown.
It's amazing too, because something you don't know, probably, I don't think I've mentioned it to you, but a couple of things I'm amazed at. I'm going to start crying. So I'm amazed at how many letters when envelopes with checks that come with a note, they can be a sticky note or a letter, and it will thank me for giving people a place to be able to donate. That's not a 501c3, or just to be able to donate in general, that a place they can trust. It's just amazing how many people send $50 or even less, because that's really all they can truly do. And so it's amazing to me because those seem like even more special sometimes than, the occasional $500 check or $1,000 donation we might get. We don't have big donors. We just don't. I'd love to say we did, but Halchin's Food Group has donated and helped us quite a bit. But, obviously by paying for the driver and the gas and many of the trucks, and now we do the trucks. And so, but even with that, we get a good deal on it and stuff, which, praise God for that. but it's just amazing because I have noticed how many people are only really, and a lot of times they'll say, I'm on Social Security, but I've saved up, to be able to donate, and it might be $30. And so it's just so humbling, and it's so interesting because, like I said earlier, we might be small, but we are mighty. And so we just really appreciate all. I see what you and Jimmy and your volunteers are doing, and it's just amazing. Patty says, I do belong to your ministry, Michelle. Send money every month. So grateful. Yep. And then Carol says, very heartwarming or heartbreaking, but what people are enduring. That's right. God bless you, Jenica. What a wonderful thing that you're doing. And she says, thank you, Michelle. And so, there's got to be somebody in the area that kind of helps that. And you're doing such a great job, Jenica. And God's using that land, and I know that you guys have really done without, and you guys have been through it, and you're going through it with the business and all that stuff, trying to get it. And they're just giving you the runaround. But I just want you to know, yeah, but I want you to know, like, you're seen, we see you, and I know you're working your tail off, and but most importantly, God sees it, and we just want to say thank you for everything that you're doing for your community, and we're glad to support you.
Thank you. I mean, like I said, if we're struggling as hard as we're struggling, like I told you, we haven't got power yet. So just to get temporary power, we had to buy our own pole and dig our own hole to put the pole on just to hopefully get temporary power. And I know we're not alone in this struggle. There's so many other family-owned businesses that are struggling like us. So if we're struggling, and we know so many other people are, it comes easy to want to help, because I don't want other people to struggle. I don't want other people to be left behind. So I guess I don't look at it as I need a thank you, because I'm just doing what people should be doing for others.
Sure. And it's so, like like we were talking about with the, the hotel kind of situation with the veterans. I mean, these are our elderly, our veterans, and single moms that are in need as well. And it's like, these are people that are in our communities. And so in this situation, they were just extra special, hard hit. And like you were saying to me the other day about apartment complexes, a lot of these apartment complexes, they got hit. And then they just told everybody, look, you got to find somewhere else to go. And of course, that's, they can only do what they can do, when the building gets flooded. We get it. But you really helped me to, put things in perspective about how many people at a time with these apartment complexes around Asheville and the outer areas. And like you said, just there in Swannanoa even. So you're talking about hundreds, if not thousands of people, in each one of these apartment complexes. And many of those got taken out. So, it's just, and there's just need, and it's going to take time. But I had made promises that we wouldn't just forget, we wouldn't just go home and forget people. And so we've gone back, and it's been 8 trips, and we've done it. And so anyways, but Jenica, we love you, and we appreciate you, and we're behind you. And, you just keep going, girl.
I definitely will. You guys make it easy to keep going and forward.
Thanks, Jenica. Thank you, honey. All right. She's doing such great work. And so we just, it's easy, as I'm sure you guys can see, it's easy to get behind her and help her, because she's just, got such great connections, and it keeps evolving. And I was so happy to hear the story about how, they had made a neighborhood of a lot of the buildings, the structures that they had built. It was just so amazing. And to get water and all that. I mean, think about that. That's just amazing. That's an incredible accomplishment. And so I'm just, yay, that's great. Okay, so let's see here. Tomorrow, I want to remind you, we're going to have Steve Jarvis here with us. He's going to be here. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I won't be here live doing a show. I will see you Monday. So I'll be here live tomorrow. And then after tomorrow, it'll be Monday next week. Let's see. So viewer Celeste says, tiny indeed, mighty, walking in faith, also a testament to that. Yes, that's right, honey. 200T says, thanks, love, strength, and blessings to you, Jenica. Yeah, she and her husband are both working really hard. And she said the other day that her husband asked Jenica why I keep coming and helping. And she was like, well, because she knows God keeps telling her to. And so I told her, I said, well, what I said after about the 4th or 5th trip is I was like, okay, this is getting to be a lot more than I expected it to be. And so I didn't expect to come to North Carolina like this. And I said, but, I told God that at that point, I said, as long as the viewers keep donating, I'll keep going. As long as the money is there and the need's there, we'll keep going. And so until one of the two stops, when they don't have the need and they're able to be rebuilt and people are doing well, or the viewers just quit giving, then then I'll know. But God, as long as people keep giving and donating and the need is there and she's still boots on the ground, taking care of all these people, then I will continue to do what I'm doing. And so that's where we're at. So if you want to donate and help us, the best way to do that is by either doing Venmo or PayPal. And those account and all the details and everything are in today's show description for the Michelle Moore Show on Rumble, and then also Truth Talk America on Rumble. Either one of those, 100% of your donation goes in food, supplies, and we help with all kinds of things. As you know, we did the solar operated fans. We hand delivered those last week when we went. They came the day before, so it was perfect. And then we're having the air conditioners shipped and delivered direct to Jenica. And so that way, and they're air conditioners that are perfect for like RVs. And so we're doing that. Those have already been bought and paid for, and just they were just on a little bit of a delay for shipping. And so this morning I got an email, like I was saying a little while ago, telling her, hey, they're shipped and on their way now. So she should have them within the next week or so. And hey, it's getting warm. Like when we were there the other day, it was humid and 88, and we were all just like sweating like crazy, getting that truck and all that stuff, all those supplies and food unloaded and organized into her facility. So, can you imagine what an RV is like right now? And so when this all happened, it was winter was coming, and now we're coming into this hot season. So anyways, but we've done all kinds of things. And so it's everything from that to helping a food bank stay open, where we delivered food and paid the rent for a month. Do you remember that? We're a little isolated village community. They lost their only little grocery store, gas station. And so we helped keep that town going for an extra month. We've done that, paying a windshield on a car, paying the guys to cut a tree down that was blocking a driveway of a single mother for 4. We paid that. We paid another lady, I felt a nudge to send her extra. Come to find out, she had a medical bill that she didn't know how she was going to pay. And just so happens I'd sent almost enough to cover the medical bill and the guy who had to cut down the tree. And so this was with your money. And so these kinds of things that we do with your money, 100% goes. And so we will keep going as long as the funds keep coming for the people. And so, but we do have to have the donations to be able to continue. It's been amazing. Like I said, already at $204,447.11. That's just absolutely just mind-blowing. Just mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. So anyways, and I'm humbled and honored that we've all gotten to do this together. It's just an amazing accomplishment, if you ask me. I don't know. What do you think? I think it's amazing. I think it's absolutely. And so it's just amazing. Okay, so Alexandria 18 says, although the news reports say differently 24/7, we the people are not at war with one another. Human kindness is not dead. Yes, that's so true. So we hope that this has helped today. I always enjoy having Lieutenant Mark Taylor with us. We're going to enjoy tomorrow. I'm sure it's going to be quite entertaining and quite informative with Steve Jarvis, who is part of the Maha Coalition. And I talk to him pretty regularly. He texts me pretty much every day, and he's always got a new something every day. It's amazing. And so we'll have him here tomorrow. And I'm glad that we got you the update with North Carolina. And so we'll see you right here next time on the Michelle Moore Show.
Toxic chemicals are everywhere, even in products we've used for generations. Now there's a replacement solution, Godly Granny. Godly Granny products are nutraceutical, clean products with purpose. All our products like skin creams, bath bombs, lip scrubs, deodorants, and more are free of the Godly Granny 5 Dirty Dozen list. That's 60 harmful chemicals many other companies use that you'll never find in our products. Go to godlygranny.com today Be sure and use the discount code Michelle10 at checkout to receive 10% off your entire order.
Did you know your cell phone emits radiation that has been linked to increased risk of certain types of cancers? This is why manufacturers include hidden warnings to keep your phone away from your body. And what's worse is that children are more susceptible to the potentially damaging effects. Safe Sleeve for cell phones is a case specifically designed to block radiation. Its shielding technology integrated into the case has been tested in a third-party FCC-accredited lab to block over 99% of RF and 92% of ELF radiation emitted by your phone. It also functions as a stand for watching videos and comes in a magnetically detachable style for some devices. Safe Sleeve also offers anti-radiation cases for tablets and laptops and has free shipping in the U.S. plus discounted worldwide shipping is available. Go to truthtalkamerica.com today and click on the Safe Sleeve banner on the home page. Use the discount code FIRST10 at checkout for 10% off your first order.
Protect your 401k and IRA by converting a portion of it into gold. Gold has more than doubled the S&P 500 and the Dow over the last 25 years. Request your free information from Universal Coin and Bullion. Call now to speak to a gold expert.
Trying to get healthier is full of can'ts.
Come on, Grandma, come play. Come play with us, Grandma.
I can't move. So you go to the doctor.
Your body can't figure this out. So take this, and this.
Because your body can't. But is it true your body can't? Maybe your body can. All you need is a little support. Wave Watch is a wearable device that uses sound wave therapy to help your body heal itself. Studies are showing that all cells in our bodies resonate at unique frequencies, and specific sounds can stimulate them. Your body can deal with pain, so you can play hard.
Wave Watch comes with a 1-year manufacturer's warranty for defects and flaws, and you can upgrade to an additional warranty for water damage and breakage. Go to wavewatch.com. Be sure to use the discount code Michelle100 at checkout to receive $100 savings on your purchase.
For Michelle's social media links, go to MichelleMooreShow.com.